Okay. So we're just going to jump right into this because we've been farting around with the tech stuff. Let me just quickly introduce everybody to Sifu Greg Pichardo. So here's what I know. We share mentors. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I am fairly sure that we have been in the same room at a seminar.
Oh, yes.
By Inasano or somebody. I have trained in seminars at your place. I have trained in seminars that you have taught, but I've never had really an opportunity as such to sit down and talk to you one-on-one.
I mean, we went out to eat together and everything.
Right? We accosted strange people at the airport together.
Yeah, I picked up at the airport.
Right. So, okay. So listen, here's something that that I recall. When I was in New York with you and Sifu Cass, you had a concern about it was the UFC gym that was moving into the area. So give me an update on that situation, and then let's go from there. I mean, we'll probably go backwards as well, but let's go. Let's start with that.
Well, actually, I ended up moving my location anyway. So I just left. It was just too much to handle because it was the flagship of New York.
I see.
So it was huge. It was about 40,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard to compete with something like that.
Okay.
So I just ended up moving.
How far away?
About a mile away.
Oh, geez.
So
that's not bad.
It's not too bad. It was it was far enough that it was okay.
Right. All right. And so that's where you've been ever since.
Ever since. I mean, I closed the school actually. So right now, what I'm doing is martial art wise is just privates.
Okay.
And workshops and seminars.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And what happened to that UFC place? Are they still running?
It's kind of funny. I just had that conversation with Sifu Cass a few
days
ago. I haven't passed by, so I'm not sure how they're doing. I know there's been a couple of them, smaller ones that have closed.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of places closing. Going on.
Yeah, the martial art business. Do you know who Mike Massey is from Martial Art Business Daily? Do you know him?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he and I just started talking about him possibly coming on to the show. So he's not known as a JKD guy, and he wouldn't call himself a major JKD guy otherwise, but he's a serious martial art business guy. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of people would benefit from hearing, and I've known him for years. So he and I were just talking yesterday about him coming on to the show sometime soon. So we'll see. Yeah. Okay. So you made the switch, so to speak, then to okay. But back when you were running the school, was the school a full-time gig? I've never.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full-time gig.
All right, and so the workshops and seminars and privates, that's still a full-time gig for you.
Yeah, I mean, right before the pandemic, I was actually really busy.
Okay. Yeah.
I had this year we had planned almost about 12, 15 seminars and workshops alone, plus all my privates. So I was getting busy. I was getting really busy.
Okay.
Slow down, but I'm still teaching. So I have something next week actually.
Okay, so I want you to brag on yourself for a little bit then. Right? What's the attractive factor? Because I see your seminar activity. So I know you're not really bragging, right? But what's the attractive factor for a Greg Pichardo seminar?
Well, I've trained in many different systems. My three main systems that I focus on now is JKD, Kali, and Silat. Mm-hmm. And most people, they're really intrigued with the Silat because, as you know, my instructor is Cass Maga. I also train with Guy Chase. And the Silat that I do is called Bukajalan, and it encompasses so many other styles of Silat. And when you do come to my seminar,
All right, it's not my end. So, give us a second, everybody, and let me get Sifu Greg back in. I will stand here for a while and look dumb on camera while we get this fixed. So as we do that, let me say welcome to everybody who's here. This is episode number 152 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. I see some of you regulars here, Terry Valor. Okay, let's try to do this again. Yep, you're back.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the signal here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have good luck with Wi-Fi, even though I am hardwired, but I still don't have good luck whenever it's like stupid weather. And we've had stupid weather here for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, actually, we have bad weather today too. It's
raining. Yeah. Okay. So right. we had gotten to where had we gotten to?
Okay. So I'll just start talking really quick.
Right.
So basically, what my style of teaching also is, I break everything down. Mm-hmm. So I like to go into small little details. So if you really want to learn about, let's say, Silat, and you come to me to one of my workshops or a lesson of mine, I break everything down and I try to simplify as much as I can, mm-hmm. and break everything down as much as I can so you can pick it up and understand it. That's what I try to do. So, well, that sounds to me like adopting a Bruce Lee principle of keeping, mm-hmm. things simple and bringing it from, so taking a JKD principle and applying it to whatever it is that you're teaching. Yes. I mean, you try to simplify as much as you can, because sometimes when you're learning, especially when it comes to stuff from like the Philippines or Indonesia, when you have certain teachers that maybe they can't communicate that well, mm-hmm. it becomes very hard to learn. Sometimes you have to kind of figure it out on your own. Yeah, especially when your teacher is Canadian. Yeah, I never understand what he's saying. I know, right? Thank God for him, because he's actually my translator from all the other guys. He goes, "Oh, that's what he meant." Oh, okay. Yeah. So okay, yeah, so, he'll kill us when he hears that. I know. He told me he's not gonna watch, but I'm sure he'll oh yeah, right. Yeah, sure, sure. Well, okay, so let's do this, right? Okay, can you see that? No, I can't see that. What is it? It is a picture of you with considerably more hair. Oh. Black hair. Oh. Yes. Now, and in the middle is the late Pendekar Paul de Tours. Okay. And then Sifu Cass is over on the, yeah. Now, my big question is, why is Sifu Cass sweating? Why is his t-shirt so wet with sweat? What the heck were you guys doing? Well, the Pendekar made him work out. So he had him moving around, and he was doing a lot. So he had a good workout that day. Sure. So now somebody else so can you remember? I'm sorry you can't see the screen, but can you remember what seminar was that? Neil's seminar, or was that your school? Yeah, no, that was Neil Cullif's seminar. Okay, so we have Neil in common as well. Yes. I was. Sifu Neil was like the first guy to introduce me to all this stuff. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, he was the first guy in New York City or state, mm-hmm. that brought Jeet Kune Do in, mm-hmm. and that's when I got to know what Kali was, and Silat, and Savat, and Thai, and Wing Chun, and all that stuff. So without him, I wouldn't exist. So and he was. You know, when I first met him, to give you a little history, when I first met him, I mean, he just blew me away. What had you trained before? I trained in Shotokan karate. I did a little judo as well.
Okay.
You know, did a little boxing.
Okay.
But it didn't prepare me to what I witnessed when I walked into his school.
Right.
It was just something that I've never seen before, and it just I right then and there I said, "This is it. I'm done. I'm staying here." And seeing how he moved, I was just blown away. So I knew that was my home.
Okay. Okay.
And then I was with him till he moved. He moved down to Florida.
Right.
And then I started training.
Well, that's where all New Yorkers end up, you know.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to get me down there. So maybe one of these days I might
Right?
end up being your neighbor. So
yeah, there you go.
There goes the neighborhood.
yeah. So then he moved, and what became of you?
So what happened was I actually was purchased one of his schools because he had a couple of schools, and then I hooked up with Chris Kent. Okay. And I was with Chris Kent for a while. And then a weird thing happened was, and I say this is fate. I trained with Cash through the years in seminars and stuff like that. And then Chris Kent invited me to the first Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee banquet seminar.
Okay.
That only 200 people in the world were invited to, so I felt so honored. But at dinner, I was sitting down at this table, and the person that was sitting next to me was Sifu Cass. So we started talking. I said, I love, what you do and stuff like that. I would love to learn some more. And he goes, all right, let's get to know each other. And then I started training at a school, and we'll bring them in. And we've been doing that for, I think it's, I don't know, late 90s.
Yeah.
99, maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
98, 99. Yeah. So.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Maybe you have an answer for it, because I'm sure he doesn't have an answer for it. I suspect that among all of us, he's the only person who has been in one location since the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been there over 20 some odd years. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's going into his 32nd year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. In that Canby 7255 Canby Avenue or something, right? Yeah.
The Maga Institute.
I mean, he's a tough guy to fathom, right? So I can't even say what the secret of his success is, but if you're going to be mentored by anybody, as far as I'm concerned, that's the guy.
I'm telling you, he's amazing. I mean, I've never met a guy that knows so much about so many things. And what people don't realize, like a lot of people, when they think of Sifu Cass, they think of Silat mainly.
Yeah.
But he's like one of the top Kali guys you can ever find. One of the top JKD guys you can ever find. Going to his school, you never knew who was going to pop in. So one day you could be in class and Ted Wong would just walk in and start teaching the class. I mean, that's the way his school was.
Right.
So it was amazing. So he encompasses that whole idea of, try to get all the pieces. Like Dan Inosanto says, each of Bruce's students had a piece of the puzzle. Yeah, he went out and he found the puzzles and he brought it to the school and he brought it for us guys. So it was like it's incredible, really incredible.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that you? Because I hesitate to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Is it fair to say that you are better known for Silat than JKD and Kali, or is that just a misperception?
I'm better known for the Silat because most of the time when I perform, and sometimes I do some like demonstrations, stuff like that. So I end up, people want to see the Silat. So I end up doing the Silat more. And when I do seminars, even if I'm going to do some JKD, they definitely want to see some Silat as well.
Right.
So the Silat is at this point more in demand.
Right.
Because I think when it comes to, like, let's say Kali, there's so many different Kali styles and so many Kali practitioners out there. So if they can't get me, they'll get somebody else. It's not a big deal. JKD kind of the same thing. But Silat is a little bit more rare to find someone. You know, sometimes you'll find a guy that does a little tiny bit of Silat, but to know a system, and that's the difference. We have a system of fighting. You know, it's just not a bunch of techniques.
Right.
You know, and when you start learning from Buka Jalan, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. It's, you know, just a couple of techniques you fit into whatever you're doing. There's a whole system involved.
Yeah. See, so I'm glad I asked you that, because here's my take on it. I said, this is interesting. He's better known for the Silat, but his moniker is Sifu, Greg. I go, that's because that's a JKD guy at heart.
Yeah. To me, you know, I like my teachers, like Sifu Cass. I don't call him Guru, because Sifu to me is a little bit more personal, because it's the first time, you know, in the beginning it was always Sifu. It wasn't Guru. Like when I first trained with Neil, it was
I
Sifu.
am bowing down to you, because you're the first person in the 3 years that I have been doing this, to the best of my recollection, you're the first person who has expressed that. And it is exactly what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, so, you know, when I talk to my teachers, you know, Guy Chase, I call him Sifu, you know, and a lot of people call him Guru. And even when I go see Guru Dan, I call him Sifu when I'm there. I don't call him Guru.
Yeah.
You know, it just, it means more to me.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Interesting.
Right here. We're right here.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm an undercover New Yorker. No, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you know, Neil and I became fast friends in 1983, and then I went out to see him, and that's when I discovered that there's a place called which was more famous, Fresh Meadows or Flushing Meadows?
Flushing Meadows is probably
is more famous.
Flushing Meadow Park, and you have the World's Fair that was there.
Right. Okay. So that's when I discovered that there's one. They have similar names, but one's not as well known as the other. But I've always had this immense attraction for New York. I have no idea why. Right. I didn't have friends from New York or anything. I didn't even grow up in the States. But when I met Neil, because it's funny, because I was talking to a friend of mine from Barbados yesterday, and we were close when I met Neil. And so she was one of the people that I went home and I said, you know, those crazy people we see on TV and in the movies called New Yorkers, they are real.
That's right. I'm damn proud of it.
All right. But you know, we're talking about Neil, and we're talking about the early days with Cass and what have you. New York as a martial arts, I'll use the phrase everybody else uses, melting pot. But there's some serious martial art in eclectic stuff, even in New York, huh? And always has been.
I mean, I remember when there was a time you really couldn't find anything but Taekwondo. You know, there was like, I think 2 judo schools in the whole city, you know, and now you can find it tons of places and all different things you want to learn.
Yeah. Hey, your let me see if I just, a name just popped into my mind. Your Shotokan wasn't with Toyotaro Mikazaki, was it?
Yes, it was. That's pretty good.
I was not born yesterday.
Was in Flushing.
Right. Okay. I was not born yesterday. Right. That name, right? As we're talking about it, I'm going, okay, wait. And it popped into my mind. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was the Shotokan guy.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think your life would be like if you had stayed there? If to this day, what do you think?
I think I probably wouldn't be doing martial arts, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, because, you know, those type of arts, you have to have certain maintenance. It's like even Thai boxing. You have to have a certain maintenance.
Okay.
I when I first saw the Pendacar, one thing I said to myself, I go, you know what? He's an old man and he's still able to move.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going, I hope when I'm that age, I'm able to move. But because of the art, and even JKD does the same thing, you can modify the art. So this way I can do martial arts for the rest of my life.
Right.
An art like, let's say, like Taekwondo, that you have to jump and spin and be very flexible. That's hard to do as you get older. Even like I trained with a guy named Pete Jacobs, which is a Bruce Lee student. Now, he was an older guy, but he was still doing JKD.
Right.
But he just modified it.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I said, look, I can do JKD, I can do Kali, I can swing a stick around. And, as long as I'm not, even in a wheelchair, you can still swing a stick around. And I saw Silat that, there's very little movement to throw somebody. I said, you know what? I need to get into this. And luckily I came across it when I did.
Right.
And now. So I had a chance to kind of really learn it. So
that wheelchair stuff, have you ever seen Calm Woolley? Have you ever seen his stuff?
Yeah.
I tried once before to get him on, but I wasn't able to do it. But it's incredible because how do you do Taekwondo from a wheelchair?
Yeah. And when you're young, you usually don't think about those things. But to me, I had a love of martial arts, and I was saying to myself, I want to do this forever. It's not, I want to own a school. No, this is who I am now. This is part of my life, and I don't want to give it up ever.
Yeah.
So the Silat afforded me that, because I go, no matter what, even if I can't lift on my leg, I can still step forward and move around and still can throw someone. And the Pendacar was a really good example, because he was an older guy throwing 20-year-olds all over the place.
Right.
So
what
that was good.
How has the Silat influenced or informed your JKD and your Kali?
The Silat itself, because of the Silat, it's all about the detail.
Okay.
So as I'm looking, because I'm constantly, when I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at my opponent. When I go in and I feel my opponent, I'm constantly calculating my balance, his balance, all the time. So what it does is then I have to look at my body mechanics. How do I get this guy down? How do I stop him from getting me down? Which in turn made me start looking at mechanics in JKD, my mechanics in Kali as well. So now when I look at, how do I throw my rear hook kick? Well, what am I pivoting on? Where's my hip? Where's my shoulder? My rotation, where's it going? Is it going to the left? Is it going forward? Am I losing my balance when I'm throwing my kick, or am I losing my balance when I'm throwing my hook? All these things come into play. So then I start taking apart everything I do in all the different styles to make everything I do efficient. And I think that's the biggest thing that Silat has given me, compared to the other arts.
Did you do anything before professional martial arts that prepared your mind for the approach you use as a professional martial artist?
When I was young, I played a lot of baseball.
Okay.
And what intrigued me was, like, I would go to clinics, baseball clinics, and they would have, actually major league coaches come in to the clinics, and they will show you the mechanics of how to throw a ball, how to run. I mean, I was very fast runner when I was young, and then all of a sudden somebody's telling me, no, you're running incorrectly. And I was like, what? So they had me doing this weird walk. I felt like a stork, but eventually I got it, and I got to be faster. So all those little things, I go, wow, it's all about mechanics. So that always stayed in my mind. So when all of a sudden, like, as I started to do JKD, because also JKD having different teachers, because Chris Kent showed me something, and then Pete Jacobs showed me something. Bob Bremer showed me something. So each guy, Tim Tackett showed me. So each guy shows you a little piece, and then I kind of put it all together to help each technique.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole concept of technique and body mechanics started from there. But I saw the connection right away when I started doing martial arts, and I honed in on that. You know, there was something I like. You know Helena, and Helena, we started together. And the funny thing was, when we first started at the school, she was the only girl in the school.
Yeah.
Because we started together, you know, everybody would go, okay, pair up, and no, everybody would pair up except me and her. We'd be like,
Right.
okay, I
Nobody
guess me
was.
and you.
Yeah.
But
Idiots.
they were idiots because I ended up benefiting so much training with her.
Yeah.
Because I was bigger in structure, so I couldn't just pound on her. So again, I started to look at how can I work my technique. So I started working my technique. My technique got better.
Right.
And it was all because of her. And she was a great training partner. I mean, she was tough as nails.
Yeah.
Even to this day, you know, she's great.
Yeah. Some of us were misled by her cuteness.
Yeah, don't fall for that smile.
Yeah.
you'll be on your ass in a second.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I had it here, but then I remembered you can't see the pictures I pull up, but she posted it maybe a year ago or and then reposted it recently, but it's a picture of herself. It's of her and Neil, and I think they're in France.
Yes, I know the picture.
Do you know the picture?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So earlier when you were talking about the Taekwondo and what have you, I know I have a picture of you elbowing the Thai pads. So I know that, and I'm sure then you've had experience in the Muay Thai and the boxe française, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. But
one time I was kind of very into the savate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hurt my back, and then that slowed me down, and then I started to move away from it.
Okay.
You know, because there was a time I was like, I mean, I still love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the way they do their kicks, the strategy, the way they move, is incredible. Because I mean, literally, you can pinpoint the shot no matter where you are. You know, I could start moving away from you and still kick you behind your leg, which is insane. So it's an amazing art.
Yeah, I call it Kali with kicks. That's what I call it. Right?
That's the first time I heard that one.
Yeah, I call it Kali with kicks, man. Because I mean, to me, the way Salem would angle, right, and then hit you where you didn't expect it, and what have you. I saw that in terms. Yeah, I saw that in terms of triangles on the floor. You know, now I know that you guys in Silat see way more than just triangles on the floor. You guys like you go to bed inside a triangle, I'm sure, right? or you know, you go to bed inside some kind of lanka or what have you.
I joke around. I go, you know, because there's a time when you're training in Silat, you kind of not quite getting it, and then one day it clicks, and I go, it's like the Matrix. You know, at the end of the Matrix when he sees all these numbers and lines and all this stuff, and he goes, you start seeing lines and crosses and stuff all over the place, on the floor, on the body.
Right. Yeah. I remember Cass one day explaining an aspect of it to me like this. He goes, okay, because he was in town for a seminar, and we were maybe at like Chili's or something, so we're sitting down to eat, and then he just kind of explains, well, from this seated position I can do Silat. Right, you know, and at that moment I was like, oh, okay, I get it, I see what's going on here. because it's true. Because what was your relationship with him when he started to take a lot of grief over Silat? Do you remember that?
That was a little, yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they were out of their mind.
Yeah.
But you know, it is a lot of guys. They're very opinionated. You know, it even goes down to like JKD.
Mm-hmm.
You remember back in the day when Concept and original JKD were like fighting against each other and all that stuff, and it was really it was idiotic because it's not one's right and one's wrong. They're both right. You know, it's what you want to do.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
It's your journey. You know, you want to go this path, you take that path. You want to go the other path. You know, I was fortunate enough that I trained in both, so I have the perspective of both, and I could sit and argue either side because you know, they're really both correct. And when you really think about life, you know, if you're doing JKD and you want to go a little bit more into Wing Chun, you do it. If you want to go more into BJJ, you do it. It's up to you.
Right.
You know, it's there's no boundaries. You know, I think, you know, the misconception of JKD, you know, when you really look at JKD, they try to put it into a, you know, nice little box and with a little ribbon on it. But JKD is not that, really.
Yeah.
If you study like Zen Buddhism, that's what JKD is. It's all Buddhism and Zen.
Yeah. How do you put into a box and put a ribbon on it something whose slogan is "Use in no way is way"?
Yeah. You know, because people want to be linear and they want to identify. But the problem is you have something that's constantly evolving, constantly changing. And for each individual, it changes. And it looks different on each guy, you know. So you have to tailor it to each guy as well. So it's going to look different. You know, you have certain attributes, another person has different attributes. So that's where people get caught up and, oh, that's not JKD. I mean, you follow certain principles that Bruce Lee had, you know. You know, you want to stay on those. Well, simple, direct, you know, strong side forward and stuff like that. But after that, you can kind of play around and do what you want. You know?
Yeah.
You're not bound by it.
Yeah. Cast your mind back to your first Inasano seminar. Can you remember?
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Yep.
Okay. Describe that experience for me.
Well, at first, I remember he was already in the school and I was outside. And then I walked in and he was in the office and I'm like freaking out because I was a big Bruce Lee fan. Right. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Insano's right in that room. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then he came out and I said, I have to feel his energy. I have to feel the energy that Bruce Lee felt too. So to me, that was my connection. So all of a sudden, I don't know what question I asked. I just needed him to touch my arm. So he touched it. I was like, yes, yes, I feel it. I feel it. So it blew me away. It blew me away. Just like, I mean, bigger than just a regular celebrity. You know, he was everything. It was all my childhood growing up, you know, looking at Bruce and, you know, wanting to meet Bruce and all that stuff and wanting to train.
Yeah.
You know, that was like, you know, sometimes, you know, you sit there and as a kid, you kind of fantasize and, you know, you want to meet people and stuff. And I remember one time, you know, thinking about, you know, Bruce's students and his wife, meeting his wife. And then one day, you know, I found myself, you know, speaking to her. Now, mind you, this is what it was. I'm looking at her and I see her mouth moving. And I'm going,
right.
Because I'm not hearing anything. I'm like, oh my God, I'm speaking to Linda Lee. Oh my God. Like, you know, but I was like, oh my God, dreams do come true sometimes.
Right.
You know? So it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, people are gonna watch this and go, "Oh, look at these two Bruce Lee fanboys."
I know. Grow up.
Yeah, right. So I take it then that because I've always noted that there's a similarity. Because I grew up on kung fu films in Barbados. You guys in New York did something similar, didn't you?
Yeah, we had. I mean, first it was all in the movie theaters, right? And then when later on, like in the 80s, then there was a on one of the channels, they would every Saturday would put some kung fu movie on.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of that. And it was, and I think back in the 70s in New York, martial arts was really big. That's where all the stuff was happening. Then it kind of moved out to California, and it got big there. But there was a time that, you know, you had Aaron Banks doing all the.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not wide world of martial arts. Something.
Oh my God. And I participated in it. This is embarrassing.
Did you really?
Yeah. Later on, he contacted me.
Yeah, Aaron Banks. Is it World of Martial Arts?
Is it Asian World of Martial Arts?
Well, no, Asian World of Martial Arts is the store in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right.
World of Martial Arts is Mick Tully's thing in England. And I know they used to show it on ABC, which was Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, they used to show it all the time.
Right?
And he kept on going. It became a smaller event,
but
he kept on going, and I participated a couple of times. He was an interesting guy. He was an interesting guy, to say the least.
Oh, y'all have so I'm gonna try to pull that memory thing again and call out some names, and you tell us about these weird New Yorkers. All right, so we got Aaron Banks. Peter Urban. Was Peter Urban a New Yorker as well?
Yeah. I never met him, but I heard crazy stories about him.
Okay. Kareem Abdullah.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know?
I think he was in the. I think he lived in the city. I think.
Yeah, because I seem to remember that he fought Joe Louis at Aaron Banks's thing, and they were like one of the first televised full contact karate matches or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or am I way older than you?
Yeah, you're talking about the 70s right now. Yeah, that's the 70s.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Okay. Let me check and see if anybody knows. There we go. Nathan Marinone says it was Oriental World of Self-Defense.
There you go.
All that was that was.
I can always count on you, Nate.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Hey, let me see if anybody says anybody. Okay. You know Sean Madigan?
Oh, yes. Very well.
Okay. So Sean says, have Sifu Greg tell you the story of how you shouldn't say no to your teacher. What is he talking about? You can always trust Big Sean for something juicy. What is he talking about?
Okay. There was so I'm at Sifu Cass's house, right? And so we trained, and now, we finished training. So I sat down at the table, and Sifu Cass goes, would you like a cup of tea, Greg? And I go, oh, no, thank you, sir. I'm okay. I'm trying to be polite, And then we're talking a little bit, and he goes, Greg, would you like a cup of tea? And I go, no, sir, I'm good. Thank you. So then a little time passes. Then he goes again. He goes, Greg, would you like a cup of tea? And I go, no. He goes, hey, stop. He goes, you never refuse your instructor. Because when you do that, by refusing this, even though it's a cup of tea, it's him giving to you. So he's not going to want to give you his knowledge either.
Yeah.
So he goes, that's the way they think. And I was just like, oh, okay. I go, but what happens if I just don't want the tea?
Right.
He goes, just take it, blow on it, take a little tiny sip, play with it, and just,
Yeah.
But don't refuse it.
That's the side of him. That's the aspect of him that's really scary. You know what I mean by that, right? Because some people don't know how serious he is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Sometimes they get caught off guard because sometimes he's very to the point, and you kind of get taken aback and go, whoa. But he's true. He doesn't beat around the bush.
Yeah.
which I appreciate too. I mean, there's
Yeah.
times he's like, Greg, no, that's not it. Like, okay, thank you, sir.
You know what's one of the more memorable stories about him I ever heard. Eleanor said once, "You're more Filipino than the Filipino boys I know." Right.
Probably right.
I know.
You should hear what he talks. He's able to talk with like an Indonesian accent, a Filipino accent. He's really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was the best. He could do the best. He could mimic Inasano and the Tours really well.
Yeah.
Really well. He could do that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So okay, so this is another one where you gotta go inside and think, right? I won't tell you who said it because it's obvious since we've been mentioning names. But when I told this particular individual that you were coming on the program, he said, "Greg's a good man." Okay, so without knowing who said it, now you got to brag on yourself again, right? Why would somebody? What have you done or tried to do in your life that somebody would say Greg's a good man?
Well, I mean, I try to be truthful. I try to be I try to be a nice guy. I don't really have an ego. I don't, person comes over to me and says, "Hey, Sifu, I don't expect anyone to bow to me. If you want to, that's fine." I'm just a guy who teaches martial arts. Nothing special. You're just as good as I am. I care. I care a lot. I do care for my students. I really want them to pick it up. So I'll spend a little extra time teaching them, just try to do the right thing, I guess, try to be there for them.
Yeah. Along the way, what mistakes do you think you made as an instructor coming up?
Wow, that's a good one. Mistake. I mean, I guess you make a ton of mistakes. Wow.
So let me try to ask the question better.
Okay.
So along the way, how did you learn to become a better instructor?
Listening. Sometimes you just shut your mouth and listen. A lot of guys, they tend to, I come across people that I'm about to teach them and they just start yapping and telling me about them and their styles. And I'm like, okay, tell me about your style then. I'm good. I'll learn your style. That's fine. But a lot of people, they just, just if you stop, listen, pay attention, take notes. Again, be a good person. People feel that energy and they want to share with you.
Right.
If you're not the nicest person, people, tend not to want to share.
So you mentioned Pendekar Paul de Tours, you mentioned Sifu Cass, you mentioned Sifu Chase. So then that means you spent time also with Pendekar Herman Suwanda.
Yeah. Not that much, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most of the stuff, I think my refinement of Herman Suwanda stuff has been through Sifu Cass and Guy Chase.
Okay. Did you ever train classical Villabril Largusa with Guy Chase?
Yes.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's got to be fun.
He's really good. Actually, I was just speaking to him about a week or so ago, and I'm waiting for this pandemic to slow down because I want to go see him.
Yeah. Do you think you'll reopen? You'll get a place again?
Yeah, I'm looking at my different options. Like the funny thing is, right before the pandemic happened, there's a guy I know who owns a gym, and he has this big space, and we were talking about starting something up there,
Right.
and maybe slowly start putting 1 or 2 classes in. And we had a whole workshop planned, and it was the week before. It was week after that we closed down.
Yeah.
So it never happened.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that to kind of settle down, and then probably revisit that.
Yeah. That sounds like a pretty decent option.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's less risk.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if it's a huge room. So I mean, before the pandemic, you can have probably like a good 30 people in there, maybe more.
Right. Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. So here's another thing I just thought of that, and I think he says it on the 95 video series, the European tour video. Cass says that the Silat, that he went deep instead of going wide. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly.
I don't know if I have right. Okay.
Because he talks about religion, and he goes, people skim over, and he goes, sometimes you have to stop and go into it, and I know exactly what he's talking about, because that's kind of what I did. I kind of had to start focusing, because I could have sat there and said, okay, I'm going to do Wing Chun, and I'm going to do Thai, and I'm going to do Savat, and I'm going to do different types of Kali. So no, I'm going to just stay with really the MI Association program. But the Silat, I said, I'm going to dig deep into it. So I went down, and what happens when you go in there, you find answers to a lot of things. So what happens is, and I think this happens to a lot of people out there, when they start looking at martial arts, they look at the surface and they go, well, that's no good, that doesn't work. Sometimes they look at JKD and they go, well, there's nothing there. No, you have to study JKD. You have to get in there,
right,
and you start seeing the little nuances that exist. The same thing with Silat. All of a sudden, you go in there and you start seeing all these little different positions, how to just, moving your hand like this to here makes a huge difference. So you start seeing those things, but you have to go in deep, and you have an understanding of the whole system, which gives you an understanding of combat in general.
Right.
That's what I feel like a lot of people, and they're just skimming. I'm going to go, especially even with teachers. I'm going to go train with this guy a little bit, then this guy a little bit. You never really get to know him. You never really get the good stuff. When I first started training with Cass, I was learning stuff. I mean, I still learn tremendous amount of material from him, because he goes deeper and deeper and deeper into the art, and the stuff that I'm like, oh my God, I never even thought of that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the key. Sometimes guys kind of give up a little bit too quickly. Nothing comes, easy. You have to put some time into it, but the rewards are amazing.
How have you formulated a way for dealing with that prevalent approach or attitude of people? Because I find a lot of people in the world, maybe the majority of the people in the world, live at a surface level. They are skimmers.
It's hard, because it's almost like it's like talking to somebody about religion, and say, oh, you got to see it my way, and sometimes you have to kind of show them, have them experience it, and then have them come to you and say, I want to get a little deeper into it. Because to me, to just tell them, you got to just submerge yourself. You got to jump in. They think I might have a hidden agenda. No, it's those are the answers are there. You want them, they're there. But I'm sorry, I can't do it for you. You have to jump in, because there are things that you have to learn. I can only, like the whole thing about the finger pointing to the moon, right? That thing. Really, what is the moon? The moon is the truth. And people concentrate on the finger, but you're missing the truth. I'm trying to show them the truth. So sometimes they tend to look at the finger. No, you need to come with me, come on this journey with me, and I'll take you to the truth. But you have to do it with me. You have to come.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. So one thing I've always thought about, and you or somebody who would have experienced this, as a school owner, as a professional instructor, you have to become a persuasion specialist.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
So, okay, so give the audience some tips then. So for the instructors in the room, right? Give them some tips on how to be more persuasive.
Well, first of all, you have to go to your student, meaning you have to go where they're at, their mindset.
Okay.
Every student is different. To motivate guys, you have to motivate them differently. There's some guys that you have to be rough with them for them to kind of get it. Mm-hmm. Other people you have to sit and almost coddle them. Other guys you have to sit there and explain into detail. But you have to recognize your student, what type of student that is. So as you're teaching them, you get all these little tidbits, hints, whatever, of what type of person this is. Mm-hmm. You know, you get some guys that are very timid. They don't want to ask anything. So you have to come out and kind of pull stuff out of them, push them a little bit harder, you know. So really go where they're at. Don't like, you can't teach everybody the same way. That's why I do like teaching private lessons, because each person I teach, it's totally different. Totally different material.
You just busted my bubble, because I was going to try to make the question harder for you. I was going to say, yeah, but if post-COVID, you end up in that room with 30 people in front of you, how do you motivate all of them at the same time if we're using the private lesson approach? But you
it's called,
no, I'm still asking the question. Answer that question, damn it. Answer that question. How do you motivate all 30 of them from your teaching spot on the floor?
You have a base. You teach them. There's a base technique you're teaching them. And then as you go around, you fine tune each one in what they need.
Yeah.
For an example, I had the situation. I had a guy kicking. Now I had one guy next to me that had tremendous kicks. So this other guy's standing next to him. He's kicking, and he's a beginner. It wasn't too hot, but I go, that is excellent, awesome. Now this other guy turns around and after class goes, I don't know, am I missing something? Am I doing something wrong with my kicks? Because they don't look like that. I go, no, you don't understand. For him, it's excellent. For you, it would suck. You know, but that's the thing. I went to where that guy is.
Right.
You know, he improved a little bit. That's all I want. You know, if he improves that much, awesome. Sometimes he'll improve that much. You know, you got to motivate each person differently. You know, it's not easy, especially if you have a room full of 30 guys. Like if I'm in a seminar, I have 30 guys, you know, I have to, you know, literally run around the room.
Right.
But I want to try to get to everyone, even if I give them a little tweak, just a little one. So at least when they go home, they go, well, I learned something. He tweaked this little thing.
Yeah.
My punch is a little better.
Yeah.
You know, my kick is a little better. My footwork is a little better, whatever it is.
So that's your, let's see, I'm trying to remember a phrase from, two phrases from my old days of martial art business study. There was one about leaving, well, there is that, but leaving them smiling, sweaty, and sore.
And satisfied. One more for you.
Right. Okay. And then there was also the concept of every class they should learn, was it learn something new or feel like they learned something useful?
Oh,
do you know that?
I think it's new. I think.
Is it something new? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's new.
Okay. Are you able to do that?
I try. Like if I'm teaching, for an example, if I'm teaching the figure four lock, right? So let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say I have two people I'm teaching. One guy has done the figure four lock. The other guy, he never did it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll show the figure four lock, but to the other guy, I'll just go to him, feel this, and I'll change something. And I go, that's for you. And I walk away. Both of them are satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can't teach that little extra to the beginner because it's just too much. And you're going to just overwhelm him, and then he's not going to learn anything. So I give him just enough for him to be full, that he didn't overeat. And I give that other guy, just in case if he's a little hungry, I give him something.
All right. And you learned that approach where?
Good question.
You see, because
some of it's me, some of it I'm sure it's a little bit of my different instructors.
See, I think that like that detailed aspect there, that might be what's lacking in a lot of the JKD instructors, you know.
Could be.
Because, you know, my lifelong quest is to crack the code on Jeet Kune Do, right? Because, you know, it's the proverbial, okay, so how come it's the property of the world's most famous martial artist of all time, but it's not a household word like grappling or BJJ or UFC or MMA are household words?
Because what people see, they see people doing kickboxing. Because you have to look at it, if you're looking from the outside, what am I seeing? All right, I see a guy doing some kickboxing. Oh, he did a little trapping, and maybe he did a judo throw.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, you have to get in there. When you get in there and you start showing, that's why if I'm going to perform, I usually show Silat because it's impressive looking. JKD, you know, for me to intercept your punch coming in, sometimes it might be too fast, and the guy goes, what you do? I don't know. But to feel it, to experience it, and because, like we were talking about before, there isn't that tight box that you can identify it. So what happens is you'll see one JKD guy do it a certain way, you see another JKD guy do it a different way, and you kind of can't find the similarities. And you sit there and go, I don't get it. It just looks a little like whatever. But to really understand how alive this art is, and how really, when you really get into how awesome it really is, you have to put it on. You know, it's like putting on a uniform. You have to put it on to feel it, you know. And also you get a lot of guys that dabble in JKD. They don't submerge themselves into the JKD. If they go in and they start going all the little details, and sometimes they get bored. But you take a guy like an instructor like Tim Tackett, who he just does JKD. Ted Wong was the guy, he only did JKD. And when you felt him hit, when you saw him move, I mean, I'm not the smallest guy, but he just popped me with his bicep one time, and I went flying across the room because he was able to generate so much power in a very small frame.
Right.
But he was able to put his footwork in, put his body mechanics in, that he exploded. His quickness was amazing. His footwork was just, I mean, he was in front of you for a split second, then he's next to you. You know, so those are the things that are impressive about JKD, but people don't put the time in to really learn it.
Right.
To find the secret of it. That's kind of the secret of it. Train, get in there and do it.
Yeah. And that becomes a life philosophy, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you know, you could sit back and wait for things and just kind of dabble in, you know, it's like you got to jump head in. You know, you got to just go into it and see what happens.
Right.
And then if you don't like it, then you go, you know what, it's just not for me. You know, that's fine too. You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to, you know, regret. It's okay. I want to do, I don't know, kendo. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm. Hey, over the passage of time, how old was the youngest student you ever had, and how old was the oldest student you ever had?
The youngest must have been about 4.
Okay.
Oldest was probably 75.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I assumed that this was back in the days of the school.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So give me an idea of the methodology, the formula for teaching kids.
Oh, kids, you got to make it fun. You know, and you kind of almost have to disguise things as play.
Hmm.
So, you know, if you say we're going to work hard, yeah, they're not going to want. If you say we're going to play hard, you don't have a problem. You have to have a lot of energy, you know, like when it's adults, you kind of go like this, okay, do this. Okay, do it for 3 minutes. I'll be back. You know, kids, you have to be right there. You have to be jumping with them. You have to be running with them. You know, you know, at the end, you're sweating just teaching them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just make it fun with the kids.
Yeah. Would you, do you think you would ever have been able to have a martial arts school that had ages 4 to about 17 only?
No, that would drive me crazy. Because it's like, you know, it's almost like, okay, I have to play too. You know? So the adults, I get to play a little bit, and we can kind of fool around and come up with stuff. So yeah, I couldn't.
I always did you advise Sifu Cass on a kids program? Because he didn't always have one, did he?
No. It's a lot of the Jeet Kune Do guys especially back in the day. Kids weren't, because when you really think about it, when you take Jeet Kune Do, you know, finger jab, kick in the groin, and stuff like that, you have to go whoa. You can't do any of that stuff with kids, so you have to really water everything down for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think guys back in, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, they were about learning it themselves, and then teaching it so they can still train. You know, I don't think none of them started thinking about when you have a school is when you stop and go, you know what, I need to pay the bills, and the kids would come in handy right now, and that's when you start slowly introducing a kids program.
Yeah. What so the UFC place came along, UFC itself came along, BJJ came along. What's been your experience with it? Like, do people ever like want to compare your Bukajalan approach to BJJ or oh well, that won't work because BJJ is? Do you ever get into those kinds of situations?
Well, I get into the discussion like when they compare,
Mm-hmm.
and I go, well, you have to understand something. Martial art falls into 2 categories: self-defense and sport. While some techniques cross over into both, some do not. And you have to understand the differences. You know, you're talking about, when you talk about sport, it's, I know who my opponent is. More or less, he's probably my height and weight. We're going to be in a ring with rules. There's going to probably be a ref. There's no weapons. It's only me and him. Now, on the flip side, if you're on the street, you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know who this person is. You don't know if there's a weapon. You don't know if there's multiple attackers. Also, the main thing is your frame of mind. In a ring, I'm not thinking that I'm going to die. Beat up pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to die.
Mm-hmm.
In the street, you're thinking about your life. You could die. So to compare them at times can be difficult, because there's some techniques that work amazing in the street, but on the mat, not so good.
Yeah.
Same thing. There's some stuff that I would do on the mat, would never do in the street. I remember doing a jiu-jitsu class, and my jiu-jitsu teacher had me in this position that I was facing down. He goes, just slide your face along the mat. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not the best looking guy in the world, but if I slide my face on concrete, I'm going to be pretty bad. So it's like right away I said, okay, I'm not planning to go into the ring anytime soon. Right. So that technique, I kind of have to throw it away a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know enough jiu-jitsu to instantly recognize the viable escape that calls for you to rub your face along the ground.
Yeah, it was this arm bar that you're on. It was.
No.
So I was just like,
look at this. No. I'll stay away from that one. Look at this.
Yeah. You're pretty. I'm not.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I'll stay with it. All right. So listen, because I gotta do a private. I'm like you. I gotta do a private at 8 o'clock. When's your next private lesson? Tomorrow?
I might have one tomorrow. The guy's not feeling well, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do it.
Okay.
But I usually have him 7 days a week.
All right. So you usually have him 7 days a week?
Yes.
Is he on a fixed curriculum, or is it just we'll do whatever comes to mind when we get together tomorrow?
That's a good question, because some of my privates, it's they want kind of a progression.
Okay.
And then I have other guys that are like, okay, I saw something, I want to do this, or I was thinking about this. And my thing is, we'll do whatever you want. You know, I don't have a problem. I'll go anywhere you want me to go. So, or sometimes they'll go, can we review? That's great. We'll review. Right. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. It really depends on the individual. Again, it's like I go where they are, whatever they want to. I just want to do Silat, cool. I want to do a little Silat, a little Kali, cool. I want to do Silat, Kali, and JKD, cool. We'll do whatever you want. You know, maybe we might even talk about, you know, Wing Chun or Savat or Thai or whatever. Sure, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So some guys are a little bit more structured. Other guys, it's just, you know, sometimes they leave it up to me. Whatever you want. It's all good. So I'm like, okay.
Okay. So let's start to wrap up with this then. Give me an example of, within the PMMA structure, an example of progression. Okay. Start here, go to this, or whatever. Give me an example.
Okay. So you got.
Don't give me your secrets, okay? I don't want the secret.
Okay, I'll try to be vague as I can.
Okay.
Person comes in, you have to teach them how to just stand, right? Put them in a stance. Then you're teaching them how to strike, right? Because you don't want to teach them to defend yet. You teach them how to strike, because if they get into a confrontation that day, if they can only defend, they'll never win. If they strike, there's a chance they can win.
Okay.
So I'm going to teach them how to, and then, okay, good. I knocked them out. So then you slowly start introducing combinations. Then you start showing defenses, and then you start building up like that. Then you start putting it together. Then you start putting different drills together, how to back and forth. And then you start bringing weapons in. Then you start bringing, you know, certain takedowns and locks and all that stuff.
So nobody starts in Silat then?
It's for me to sit there and go, it's okay. I want you to stand in, you know, I'm going to have you standing in Tiga, and I want you to go forward pressure. And I'm telling them all these principles that they've never taken martial arts whatsoever.
Right.
There's like, what language, you know, oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to keep it really simple. The key is, this is really important. When you're teaching, you have to make sure they succeed right away. So for an example, if I was teaching you how to throw darts, I would have you stand like inches away from the dartboard and go, boop, oh, got it right in the center. And then slowly you've already felt success.
Mm-hmm.
So as I pull you back, all right, you might miss a couple, but you'll get a couple in. So you keep that success feeling going. So instead of me having you fail and find success, no, I want to have you succeed and then, go with that, have that feeling. You know what it feels like to succeed. You recognize it. When you do it again, you go, yeah, I know that's right. Instead of me going, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Oh, I think that's right. Oh, it's wrong, it's wrong. No. So you do it kind of like in reverse. So
I see. So
that's the best way.
Sifu Greg Pichardo, you're a real JKD man. You're teaching me darts, and you're gonna have me start at the nucleus, and then I'm gonna break away from the nucleus.
Exactly. Exactly. You gotta dissolve it. Then it's dissolved. Then you're just throwing it at the wall. Not even the dartboard.
I get it. Oh man! All right, hey, listen. This has been a pleasure. Tell everybody the best way to get a hold of you.
You can always catch me on my Facebook page, Sifu Greg Pichardo. I'm working on my website, which will be gregpichardo.com.
Oh yeah, because the PMMA thing is down.
Yeah. So that I'm restructuring that, but I'm also doing one just with my name on it, so that people just want to just contact me directly. But Facebook, I'm always there. I have several. I have Phoenix Mixed Martial Arts on Facebook. I have Bukajalan is also mine. So if you want to reach me there, you can reach me.
Nice.
Ask me any questions you want.
All right. Give me 2 names of people that you'd like me to bring onto the show.
Well, I'd love to see you, Sifu Cass. Good luck. But,
you're telling me.
Nate's a good guy.
Marinon.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a good guy. He's a very knowledgeable guy. Knows tons of stuff. He's been around for a long time.
Okay.
He looks like a baby, but he's been around.
Okay.
Let me see anybody else. Have you had Neil Koff?
Oh, Neil was like number
he was
2.
way back, and you had Helena too.
Yeah, both Neil and Helena. Yeah, so actually, we haven't put any finishing touches on it. But did you know Dan Timlin from Michigan?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we are going to be doing a Dan Timlin memorial.
Oh, great! Awesome.
Podcast. Yeah. So we'll as soon as we can get that together, I need to follow up on that with them.
I look forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Nick Sakoulis. Have you had Nick Sakoulis on?
No, I have reached out, but not. Maybe you can intercede on my behalf.
I'll take a shot. He's hard to hold down.
Yeah. There's a couple of people in New York that have just flat out not responded.
It's the New Yorkers.
You think? You think?
That's why I'm the nice guy, because I respond.
Right.
See? That's the difference. Now you understand.
I get it. Hey man, but listen, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
sorry about all the tech snafus
no problem.
in the beginning.
Got it going.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.
All right. Well, yeah. So as soon as I close out and I shut it down, it should be up on Facebook, so you can go there and just go through the comments and answer anything that anybody right. And and then I will clean it up a little bit and put it up on the YouTube channel tomorrow.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, sir, so much.
Thank you, my friend. This was fun.
And I'm gonna try to get down to Florida.
Hey, right? Whenever you're ready. As long as we don't get blown away or rained out, man.
I know.
I hear you. All right, you take care. All right, have a great weekend, buddy.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that was episode 1 52 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Sifu Greg Pichardo. So, check him out over on here on Facebook. And that's it. Feel free, share, like, comment, ask questions if you want. I'll review everything after posting, and Sifu Greg will as well. If you are catching the final edit video over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. At ilovejeetkundo.com. The Quick Skill Series Volume 1 is available. Coming up this time next week will be episode 153 with Richard Torres. So Richard's going to open up his vast library, and we are going to talk about the books that that influenced Bruce Lee. So Richard's one of the best people whenever we're going to do a dive into the historicity of Jeet Kune Do. So that'll be should be regular time, 6 p.m. next Friday. And so I'll see some of you then. Hopefully I'll see some of you next Wednesday for the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys stay safe. There's another round of lockdowns coming in some of our cities. Not here in Florida because we got the good governor. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not really. Right. So enjoy your weekend. I'll see you next time. Take care. Stay safe. Talk soon.
Punch. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to go 1, 2, 3 here. Nice. Here. Next to here. Single down, step back. I'm worried. Leg. Comes in. Okay, got it? But I'm starting to feel like this. You feel different. You know, right now, I feel like I can beat. It's all attitude. And you want to train that way. So this is intensity, but this is not, don't mistake intensity to this. Trying to kill the guy. No. I can be intense, but, still control. That's important. All right, so let's try. Through. One. One, two. So he's keeping his hand up, so I'm hitting the face. But obviously, if he was a boxer, right? Come in, one, probably get to that one, and he'd probably eat that one as well. Or what happens sometimes, he over parries, right? So I go here, one, and he parries this one. Yeah, right? So he goes, boom, it's in. So if he attacks that one, that one hits. Sometimes I'll let him get that one. I know that one yet. Right? So his hand goes 1, 2. And I'm still in my tiga. Right? Okay? What's up?